the #1 youthful breakfast show. Where is hashtag what are you saying? It's the weekend, and not just any weekend, but the celebration of Easter. You know, Monday was just 2 minutes ago, and it's already the weekend, so you can imagine the excitement that we feel here. Of course, the Vibrant Lady Vibe and I are here to give you just the show you need to start your morning. And today's conversation is one for the books as it relates to many people. We're going to be discussing overcoming stagnation in a workplace. Before we get started, allow me to formally and properly introduce to you on this table the Lady Vibe, God's Beauty Israel. Good morning, girl.
Good morning, Oluchi.
I'm doing good. How are you doing today?
Beautiful.
What's your plan for the Easter celebration? Are you going to church? I think today is Good Friday.
Yeah.
So how good will your Friday be today?
Good in the sense that it's more work, and that's it.
Wait, what does Easter mean to you?
Okay.
Let's start from there.
I think it's that. So I'll start with the fact that I'm actually not like a Catholic or, I feel like they are the ones that, have a proper celebration. They celebrate it, given that
in a more intense way than charismatic people.
Exactly, or even like Pentecostal. Because again, in my church, I'm very sure the only thing we're doing on Sunday is probably telling us about, Christ and everything around it. Nothing more, nothing less. I mean, if you have to even go extreme, it has to be probably us taking Holy Communion and all of that. That's, again, even...
Yeah, I remember in my parents' church, the Good Friday is when there is this big display of bread and the wine, to commemorate Jesus' death and resurrection. I think it's a very sober time for Christians to reflect on the redemptive work of Christ and see how they can pattern their life according to that. That's why I love, religious holidays, because apart from just being away from work and different human activities, you get to reflect on the essence of that celebration and how you can impact your society with it. But away from that, before we came on air, we were discussing about the most trending thing in the world. Of course, Gossip Ghana is going to give you all the gist about it.
We'll give you all the tea,
but I felt like still gisting about it today because yesterday was all about JP 2025. I've never seen a wedding this big, and
no.
I don't think I've ever seen
There are so many weddings that Chivido 2024
was it as big as this one?
It was actually big.
Really?
It was big. The difference is the fact that there's a lot of paparazzi. I mean, that's why I was speaking to Funke about it, and I'm like, I feel like the Chivido wherever there was that standstill of Lagos. But I really did not get the standstill, on this one. The only difference is there were a lot of paparazzi, like I said, different outfits. Everybody was coming with the best, and the fact that almost everybody in Lagos, almost everybody in Nigeria,
let's even talk about that. Why
there?
I want to understand this whole celebrity fraternizing, if I will use that word.
Tell me.
It seems as though they're in a group chat. Everybody knows themselves, love themselves. Of course, I understand that if you're in that
it's an
industry.
Yeah.
But what do you think about having to pump a lot of celebrities into your wedding, even those that? If we check the history and a lot of backlash on social media, it doesn't look like you people were on good terms like that. But for your wedding, we will see their actual being showing that there was a lot of intention towards. What's your thoughts on that?
So first up, let's look at the parties, on this one. We have Iyabo Ojo, that's Queen Mother. If you know that she's literally everywhere, apart from her businesses, she's an actor, right?
Yeah.
So she acts. You'll see people from the film industry, Nollywood, they are there. The likes of Destiny, there's so many of them that are there. So that's from that part. Now we have Prissy that is...
an influencer.
Yeah, an influencer.
Entrepreneur as well.
Exactly. She has her own people as well. The likes of Annie will be there. That's her best friend, yeah. The likes of Annie will be there, and every other people that are doing influencing, modeling, everything in between. Like you see Chioma Good Hair was there. So there's that industry as well. Then you now have Iyabo's person, that's Polo, right? You already know the caliber of people Polo rolls with. So you know for sure the people to expect. So at the end of the day, you know that almost the whole celebrities in Nigeria ought to be there. So really, I feel like that's the aura I was given.
You know my conclusion with this event? I'll say that in Africa, Nigeria throws the best of weddings. Just leave weddings and partying to us. We know how to do it. I'm sure
thanks to our celebrities,
I'm sure the Tanzania husband is already like, oh my God, which country did I marry from? Because his own Tanzania wedding was done.
It was just calm.
Was simple and everything. Was even giving Indian vibe. But when you come to the Yoruba tradition, you know that we can party.
Yes, of course, away from
all of the banter this morning. morning. We'll take this short break, and when we come back, we'll highlight the top stories across the Nigerian newspaper and, of course, internationally. So please stay with us. We'll be right back shortly.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, lives a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Welcome back. Let's know your thoughts on these historical milestones. And of course, remember you're the main ingredient in our conversation today. And the way to let us know your thoughts is by calling us on our phone lines. The number is 0702500749 or 07014242420. And of course, if you're here to subscribe to our YouTube channel, head on now to the official Upgrade TV, click the subscribe button, like, share the link, tune in to channel 145 on your Go TV, and always be part of what happens here. Now let's scan the pages of today's newspaper. We have The Punch, The Guardian, and the international papers. And of course, as usual, starting with God's Beauty.
All right, let me guide you through the International Guardian newspaper. Top left, we have These Guys Went Through Hell, the cast of Alex Garland's Warfare. Then top right, Don't Look Now, it's Julie Christie's best film rank. Then main headline, that's the top, at the top, center top, we have the minister scrabble to stop labor rebellion on disability benefit cut. Bottom left, beneath the main article image, we have the Let's Make the West Great Again, says Malini. Then right-hand column, that's the last headline on the newspaper, we have NHS told it must act after ruling on gender. So I want to quickly talk on this minister's scrabble to stop labor rebellion on disability benefit cuts. So if you remember the last time we had a conversation about, there was a time where the UK Prime Minister, that is Starmer, came out to say that, because of how they want to, put in more money, into the military system and more like security and all. So they will have to take out some cuts from, the money that's given to people living with disabilities, right? So that they can pump into the military and security, whatever, to just assist. And as at that time, many people felt like, oh, okay, that's very nice. But now the ministers of parliament, that's the members of parliament, rather, the members of parliament feel like, they don't, in as much as they understand how crucial and important, pumping money into security would, help the country and, the continent as a whole. They also feel like, this money that's given to, or this money that is, budget for the people living with disabilities is also very helpful. So I think for me, it's for them to find a balance, because right now they're not finding a balance. And the government, let me just quickly read, and it says the UK government is trying to avoid a major problem within its own parliament. They are planning some cuts to disability benefits. That's money given to people who are sick or can't work. And many Labour MPs, that's the members of parliament, strongly disagree with these plans. The government fears that this MPs, that's the members of parliament, will vote against them. So they are trying to calm things down or find ways to avoid a fight. if enough MPs vote against the government, the proposed benefit cuts might not happen. This would be a big political loss for the government. It could also delay or stop other plans and make them look weak or disorganized to the public and other politicians. For me, I feel like, to conclude on this headline, I think they should just find a balance. They should strike a balance, right? So they should look at the money they have and probably try to split into and give some, to the military aid, while they give the rest to people living with disabilities. Because again, you can't take that out. Both of them are actually very important. So I will not say they should weigh the options, but instead they should just,
why are they looking at just 2 options? Aren't there other sectors to think of how to slim fit the money in that sense?
I think they must, of course, have looked at all of those things and know that, okay, it's important that, to them, to the UK government, they feel like there's probably too much money allocated to people living with disabilities, and they feel like it's important to just take out a bit, even though the members of parliament beg to differ. But like I said, they should just find the balance around it, because again, these 2 sectors are very, very important.
Security and special needs people. Very interesting story. Let me take you through the Nigerian story. We have The Guardian and The Punch. I'll start with The Guardian. The major headline reads, AI threat or opportunities, schools, teachers cite concerns, search for academic integrity. Good Friday, seemingly ceaseless crucifixion of Nigeria. Over 1.9 million students to sit for Nigeria's first digital West Africa senior school certificate examination. Below that, we see reps caution against fraudsters as secretary denies registering CBEX. Moye Dubs APC cites a lack of rule of law and justice. Presidency replies Atiku. Obi says Tinubu remains at work overseas. Tension persists in Rivers as Tinubu's emergency rule clocks 1 month. Above that, we see Gen Cos gets 2 trillion naira pledge from federal government to avert blackout. Reps alleges security operatives no plateau killers. And the last story, still on Benue killing, says attacks are planned, not random occurrences, says David Mark. I'd like to take a little... Let's just take a cue from the major headline of the Guardian newspaper. And it's something that I think just fits into our Friday segment. Friday on this table, many times we love to look at, innovation, technology, finance, the workplace and everything. And so this concern from educators that, the integrity of students are now being questioned because of the rise of AI. Let me just read the full story and then we'll banter. I saw one meme that said, person was working with a shadow in that sense. I was like, my best friend is ChatGPT. He has come through for me at different points in time. The courtesy of AI, its hitherto below average undergraduates have suddenly become lecturers' delight, but not necessarily out of hard work. They are moving content across diverse AI software to avoid detections, shows the depth that many students are going to in a bid to acquire academic success. The consequence of replacing hard work with AI amid a sharp rise in plagiarism and intellectual laziness in Nigerian students could be catastrophic if not curbed in time. Fears are also rife that poor electricity and inadequate information and communication technology facilities, typical of ill-equipped 20th century tertiary institutions, could forge a strong romance between student and AI, thereby shredding what remains of the country's education fabric. They explore the intersection of AI's laudable cause and inevitable curse. So looking away from the whole big grammar that they've mentioned here, I think it's okay to have, such concerns with AI and student integrity. But we've had conversations over time, and we've even gone for conferences and summits and, events where the tech experts will let you know that, of course, AI is here to stay, technology is here to stay, but it's not necessarily going to take away people's job from them, right? And we should get to that point where we're no longer fidgeting because of the introduction of technology to aid our work, but rather see how we can best work with it. As much as I will not disagree with the fact that this AI, ChatGPT, Chat AI, Open AI, a number of them, how won't I know them? I was once a student. A number of them could make students lazy in the sense that research is now very slim. People don't go the extra mile to check different resources, to use Google Scholar, to go to the libraries, to look at books and all. AI just helps you with it. But I think that even with AI, there's an intelligence that comes with it.
That's what I feel like that's something people don't know. If you don't put in the right prompt
you won't get the right answer.
That's how it's going to be, really. So when I even hear people say that, oh, people using AI, whatever, My guy, you don't
it
know
takes
how...
a smart person to actually use AI and get the right result.
Yes, because it is very, again, it's something, it's, you know, it programmed something that is just there. So whenever you put in there, whatever you put in there is what it will give you. So for you to have the right answers, even when it gives you the right answers sometimes, you still have to, you know, I mean, for those that are writers, you understand what I'm saying? You still have to work on it again because it has to have that human
touch.
Exactly. I mean, there are lots of things to actually do to it. It's not really... I see,
you know,
in as much as ChatGPT can help, it really cannot take many, you know, it cannot really take the job of a writer because, again, I've heard people say, oh, you know, when it comes to script, just put it in there, you know, ChatGPT will bring it out for you. My guy.
It's not about taking the job now, but stifling creativity. You can still be the one that you're beckoning on to take the gig or do the assignment, but it's the problem or the question that people have is that it stifles creativity in the sense that that period, or, you know, before, if you wanted to write, God, you can accrue to this, you probably have a lot of time brainstorming, thinking, and everything. Even to write a script for the show or any other, you know, thing that we want to present. There's a lot of brainstorming. But now AI, ChatGPT gives a direction, and then you can now fine-tune it to fit in properly. So I'll just say that lecturers and, you know, educators in the academic space should not see this as a threat at all. Of course, they should help students become better researchers and help them use AI better in school, rather than think that AI has come, you know, to make students lazy. Of course, let me quickly move to the Punch newspaper. The major headline reads, epileptic electricity. Federal government to inject 1,900 MW solar power into grid. Government sets 8,000 MW power goal by 2027. Taps private sector for grid expansion. Natasha urges police to restore security as gunmen raid home. Emergency, Rivers administrator warns mischief makers. Below that, we see Gani Adams and others reject Southwest Sharia panels. A murder trial. I found Ataga in pool of blood, says Chidima. Adeleke and Makinde meet over Oyo Oshun border tensions. Above, we see El Rufai deserves fair treatment after supporting Tinubu. Buhari's ex-minister Shitu. Dangote fuel price despite crude oil crash, S&P Global. Pardon me, federal government to clear 2 trillion naira Genco debt by December. And the last story here is Tinubu working remotely from overseas, returns after Easter. And that's the one I want to touch briefly. I want to talk on the electricity story, but I'll just move away from that. So yeah, you know, one major criticism that people have for the current administration is the fact that our president, and I don't think it's a current administration thing. It is something that we've seen over time with people that get into that executive chair, how that's, I don't know, maybe the atmosphere in this country doesn't make them want to, you know, execute the things that they have in mind. So we're seeing again here that the president of Nigeria is going to be working remotely. Sometimes the way they even put this news can be very funny. How can a governmental position be seen as a remote work? I know we have remote work these days, but that's for technology and, you know, any other sector. How can a governmental organization be referred to?
Is choosing how we work. You guys.
A remote work. But honestly, at this point, we need to even, at least to reduce the criticism. I do not have all the reasons as to why he's traveling, whether it's from international courtesy visit, as they call it, or some other things that we're not privy to. But we need to have him more in our country. And I think even for governors and other people that are going to be coming in to sit more, if we have this constant travel, we are going to cause a lot of skepticism. People are going to be asking questions because we are not even in a position where we are totally just critiquing everything that you are doing. So any slight inconvenience on our part, we're going to see something to shout about.
Whether he travels or not travels, whether he's here in Nigeria, I mean, if we don't really see the reason why you're even on the seat in the first place, then I care so less whether you're doing the travel or not. Let's be realistic. If it
so you don't even care whether he travels?
If he stays here in Nigeria and nothing is done, see, it has really not solved anything. What I'm saying is, please do.
But there are things being done, though. You can't say nothing is done.
There's some kind of conversation that you cannot have with this girl.
I'm a very objective and
exactly. So let's just keep it done.
Yes, it's just that it's not at the same pace with the things that we want to be done. Do you understand? So it's very slow and very dragged, and that's why it's looking like nothing is being done.
If I give you a job and you don't do it, and you go about doing other things, will I applaud you for it?
No,
yes,
you would not.
So what are we talking about here? Which one is this doing other things and
just the same way you don't like having this conversation with
can
me?
You stop
just
making
the same
excuses
way I do not like having this. But let's see this story very quickly.
Sorry.
And this is it's a dragging one, because I remember the first time I heard of this story, I was in 300 level or so. The alleged case of Chidinma, who killed a particular, is it